The January 10th episode of Gold Rush Season 15, titled Parker's Three Plant Blitz, showcased the relentless drive of Parker Schnabel, Kevin Beets, and Tony Beets as they pushed their mining operations to the limit in pursuit of gold. Each of these miners faced unique challenges that tested their leadership and perseverance. Here's a detailed breakdown of how their crews fared in this pivotal week. Parker Schnabel, the Three Plant Gamble. Parker Schnabel's season at Dominion Creek has been a grueling battle against disappointment and mounting debt. 9 weeks into the season, Parker finds himself already $2.5 million in the hole, with only a little over $1 million worth of gold banked. Desperate for a turnaround, Parker made a bold decision to scale up his operations by running 3 wash plants simultaneously, a move that could either save his season or bury him further in debt. The decision to bring in a third wash plant, named Shaker Deck Bob, was a risky gamble. Parker's wash plants Roxanne and Big Red were already working hard, but he needed more output to make up for lost time and money. The plan was to send Bob to the Ken and Stewart site, where it would ideally produce 900 ounces over 3 weeks. Tyson Lee and Mike Tucker were tasked with transporting Bob on a perilous 12-mile trek through rough and unpredictable terrain. The mission was fraught with risk, as one wrong move could damage the equipment or delay the operation. Fortunately, they reached their destination without incident and were met by Damian Brown, who would oversee feeding and sluicing at the site. However, things took a turn for the worse when the crew discovered a tear in Bob's conveyor belt. The damaged section needed to be replaced before the wash plant could operate. The team worked quickly to make the necessary repairs, but the unexpected setback put more pressure on Parker's already strained operation. Once all 3 wash plants were up and running, the Schnabel team gathered for the gold weigh-in. Big Red produced 58.85 ounces of gold, worth approximately $147,000. Roxanne delivered a much more impressive 185.65 ounces, valued at $464,000. Finally, Shaker Deck Bob's initial run brought in 58.45 ounces, worth $146,000. While the combined total of 1,107 ounces for the season seemed significant, it fell far short of Parker's ambitious 10,000-ounce goal. Parker admitted to feeling embarrassed by the numbers but remained optimistic about Dominion Creek's potential. Kevin Beets, a much-needed boost. Over at Scribner Creek, Kevin Beets was having a frustrating season. 9 weeks in, the rookie mine boss had yet to mine an ounce of gold. His goal was to dig out frozen pay dirt from the Lynx cut and start sluicing, but progress had been slow due to equipment issues. The D10 dozer, a critical piece of machinery, had been out of commission for a month after blowing its transmission. Without the D10, Kevin's team was forced to break up frozen ground with an excavator's smaller ripper blade, significantly slowing down their progress. Despite the setbacks, Kevin remained determined to prove himself. His plan was to dig out 3 acres of frozen pay by the end of the week and let the sun thaw it before sluicing. However, the slow pace of work was taking a toll on morale. Help arrived when Kevin's parents, Tony and Minnie Beets, visited the site. Hearing about Kevin's struggles, Tony offered to loan his $4 million D11 dozer to help speed up the operation. The gesture was a lifeline for Kevin, who also owed his parents 10% royalties for leasing the land. Tony's decision to help out was not entirely altruistic. He had a vested interest in seeing Kevin succeed and make his royalty payments. With the D11 on site, Kevin's crew made significant progress. They were able to stockpile a massive amount of pay dirt, boosting morale and increasing their chances of hitting pay dirt soon. By the end of the week, Kevin's D10 was also repaired, allowing the crew to return the borrowed D11. The hard work was starting to pay off, and Kevin's crew was hopeful that their first big win of the season was within reach. Tony Beets, halfway to his goal. Meanwhile, Tony Beets' operation at Indian Creek was running ahead of schedule. Tony had set an ambitious season goal of 5,000 ounces of gold and was already halfway there by week 10. His younger son, Mike Beets, was running the trommel at Paradise Hill, while his nephew, also named Mike, was managing operations at Indian River with the shaker deck and sluice-a-lot wash plants. However, the Beets family wasn't without their share of challenges. Jacob Moore, a newcomer to the team, encountered an issue with the shaker deck's conveyor belt. The grizzly bars, which are meant to stop large rocks from damaging the wash plant, became jammed. The hydraulic pump responsible for lifting the grizzly bars failed, causing a complete shutdown. In a bid to keep operations running, nephew Mike decided to bypass the grizzly bars by using an excavator to feed pay dirt directly onto the second conveyor. The move was risky but seemed necessary to keep things moving. Unfortunately, the gamble didn't pay off. The shaker deck's conveyor belt ripped, forcing another shutdown. Meanwhile, at Paradise Hill, Mike Beets encountered a different issue. Water and pay dirt were splashing out of the trommel's pre-wash, causing a mess and potentially washing away valuable gold. Upon inspection, Mike discovered that a rubber mat had come loose due to a broken bolt. The crew quickly welded the mat back in place, reinforced it, and resumed operations. Despite the setbacks, the Beets family managed to post solid numbers at the gold weigh-in. The shaker deck, which had only run for half a day, produced 20.15 ounces of gold, worth more than $50,000. The trommel at Paradise Hill delivered a much better result, with 233.90 ounces valued at $580,000. Finally, sluice-a-lot at Indian River brought in 203.20 ounces, worth around $500,000. With a season total of 2,588 ounces, Tony Beets was more than halfway to his goal, but he wasn't ready to celebrate just yet. There was still a lot of work to be done. The January 10th episode of Gold Rush demonstrated the highs and lows of gold mining in the unforgiving Klondike. Parker Schnabel's gamble with a third wash plant is still unfolding, with mixed results so far. Kevin Beets finally gained some much-needed momentum, thanks to a helping hand from his father, Tony. Meanwhile, Tony Beets himself continued to prove why he's known as the King of the Klondike, with his operation running ahead of schedule despite equipment failures. As the season progresses, all three mining crews face immense pressure to hit their goals. With every ounce of gold making the difference between success and failure, the stakes have never been higher.